Hello, everyone, and welcome to What's Your Mess? Mental, Emotional, Social Status of Life. And we have another special guest joining us today. We have Miss Trenace Carter. Trenace, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
Hey everyone, my name is Trenace Carter. I'm a mother of three adults, grandmother of three, five-time published author, master life certified life coach. Um, my superpower is assisting women to learn to love their authentic self so they can live their authentic life. And that's what I do.
That is amazing. So, first of all, if y'all didn't hear her, she said she has three adult children and you have three grandkids. Did you say three grandkids?
I do.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know that. So that's one of the first things that I didn't know. So I'm looking forward to this interview. Most definitely looking forward to finding out more about you. You just said you're a five-time published author, and that is so amazing with all the other skills that you have. Now, I know that you haven't always been at that particular position in life. So let's tell the listeners a little bit about your mess and what you've gone through.
So I'm a Chicago girl, born and raised in Chicago. My father was military, so we moved around a lot until my parents divorced. Um, right now, I'm in Houston. I've been in Houston. This will be 8 years in July. But how I got to Houston, that was the thing. I was working from home, full-time student, and Charleston, South Carolina just wasn't it for me anymore. And I was desperate. I was hurt. I was ashamed. My life was just like in a shambles. And that was not where I expected my life to be at this point. My children were in high school. My oldest one, he had just moved to New York. And I was like, I don't know if I can live here anymore. It's stressful to be a single mom,
Mhm.
taking care of your kids and wanting them to have the best stuff like everybody else have. And when you get fired from a job, because I was fired from a job years and years and years before I'd gotten to that point, their lifestyle had changed. What they were accustomed to had changed. What I was accustomed to had changed, which is what made me go back to school. And I got the degree, but it still didn't actually make me happy. Um, So I got here to Houston I knew a young lady. She and I have been friends since I guess I was like 21. So consider we have been friends all that time. She was the only person I knew. Please move down here. You'll love it here. You'll love it here. And I got here. I didn't really, it was okay. I wasn't impressed. I wasn't excited because I was expecting our relationship to kind of be the same way it was when we were young women.
Mhm.
And we talked all the time, but she was not that person. And it put me in a position to take an apartment that I would have never taken because I couldn't be in her space anymore. I um I couldn't be in her space anymore. And she was like, "Well, we'll always be friends, and we'll see each other." I was like, "Nah." Um, we couldn't for me because as friends we had parted ways before because I don't like a person to tell me an untruth,
Mhm.
just lie. Just tell me, the truth. I'll be cool with the truth. It may hurt me, but I don't like to be lied to. So I told her, yeah, we can be friends again and we'll see how this works out. So when I got down here, I saw how it worked out. She told a bunch of lies again. And I was like, you remember I told you, if you ever did that again, we just cannot be friends. So that's one. I don't know that that's a fun fact, but that's one fact about about me. Um, don't lie, just tell me the truth. And when I say something, believe it.
Mhm.
Um,
Completely understand.
yeah, I took the apartment. I was still working my work from home job, which is what I was working when I got here, took another position. And the other position was paying a lot more money than the work from home. But I kept the work from home because I wanted to be able to have the money and flexibility to really invest in my business.
Mm-hmm.
So that was that. And I lost a high paying job. Imagine that.
So, okay, you just unpacked a lot right there. I'm gonna let me backtrack so that we can make sure that we on the same page. So, okay, you born and raised in Chicago. You're a Chicagoan. You said that you moved to Houston from Charleston, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when did you go? And you were in Charleston with your kids,
Mm-hmm.
right? And your kids were adults, and one kid, well,
They were teenagers. The oldest
teenagers.
one, yeah, the oldest one, he had graduated and moved away.
Right. He moved to New York. And so you're in Charleston with your other two children. And so your friend suggests you move to Houston with your teenage daughters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you moved, you were moving and were you living with her at that time? Because you said y'all were in the same place.
Yeah, I did live in her apartment.
Okay. And so when you moved down here, of course, Houston, it takes time to get used to Houston because Houston is just Houston. Okay. When you came, it wasn't what you expected or it wasn't necessarily what she had made it out to be.
So Houston was great.
Okay.
Houston did not owe me nothing. It was just her expectation of who I am as a person. I had just got out of a relationship, and her expectation was, girl, you should be going out. Forget about him. And I was like, it ain't about him. I want to start dating. I mean, I know that I'm not very pleasant after I've been in a relationship. So for me to get out of a relationship just to be with somebody that I'm not going to be nice to, that was just dumb to me.
Okay. Okay. So she pretty much was trying to have you do stuff that wasn't even what you were trying to do anymore. And then she also was still not telling the truth. And you had known this young lady for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to move I'm going back through. You moved into an apartment you wouldn't normally take. I can imagine that. And then now your children are having to pretty much live a different lifestyle that they didn't normally live.
Mm-hmm.
You missed out on a higher paying job. I'm going through them all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you're feeling a certain way. So right now, how are you mentally right now in that particular moment?
So for me, when I think about it now, based on where I am and based on that space, I was like, well, damn, this is this is what I moved here for. I thought I was gonna at least have my friend down here, my money not right, these kids, I gotta take care of them. They being bullied at school. I'm going down to the school. It was just a whole lot to deal with.
Mhm.
I think I would say I was mad. I was very angry. But the other thing is, I had the understanding that I could not go back. I could not go back home to North Carolina because that's where my family is now. I could not go back home to them because they were the reason why I moved to South Carolina.
Mm, okay, that makes sense. Most definitely you don't want to go back to where you started, especially from where you were was the reason why you moved to begin with. Makes sense. And you just said emotionally you were mad and angry. Talk about that a little bit. Were you mad that you moved, or were you just mad at the situation?
I think I was more so mad at the situation. And people would see me doing different things. I was still operating. Nobody knew what I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
Still see a positive post on social media. You could still call me and I was reachable and I was pleasant, but nobody knew. Nobody knew that I was struggling with my teenage daughter wanting to follow her friends, disappearing for days at a time. Nobody knew that.
And a lot of times, and a lot of people do that. A lot of people go through and I always say suffer in silence because of course you're not trying to tell everybody your business and you're not trying to have people saying this or saying that. So emotionally, a lot of times we do just try to handle it and deal with it on our own. Now, with that, how did it affect you socially? Like you said, now you didn't have your friend that you expected to have with you down here, your children, teenagers. I know I have a teenage daughter. I completely understand, you know, acting out or acting as however.
Mm-hmm.
How are you socially now?
So I would say, I don't think I was mad at, I don't think I was silent because I didn't want anybody to know. I was silent because I'm always the strong one for everybody else.
Mhm.
So it wasn't like I didn't want to tell anybody. It was like, well, I'm going to tell because ain't nobody like me.
Mhm. Oh yeah, I get that you the strong one, so you go tell somebody, but you the one that people normally come to
Right.
tell.
Right.
Makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So did you have, like you say, you really didn't have anybody that you could tell? Did you have anyone socially, friends, other friends, any family?
No, like I said, I relocated. I moved to South Carolina to be away from family.
Mhm.
And I I got friends here not very long after I moved here, based on music. We would go to concerts and stuff together. Some of us we developed a relationship, and then I started trying to, when you learning how to relate to people, you start seeing like, well, nah,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
not the thing. And I mean, for me, I think that relationships are important. And I think that my relationship to you is not just based on us having a good time.
Mhm.
That's not a real relationship.
Yeah, that's true. Because what happens when the time isn't as good? Like, what we gonna do? Is
Mm,
it gonna still be a relationship even when things aren't going great?
right.
Great point. And the last thing I usually ask is as far as your status of life, you kind of broke down your status of life, especially like with your children and things like that. But how did your status of life, like, did it completely change? Or was it kind of just like a temporary moment where the status changed? Tell us a little bit about that, a little bit more about that.
I would say for me, it was a shambles.
Mm.
It was a shambles because when you used to working a job that you're making money, you making bonuses. Um, and had I not been fired from that company, and I'll say AT&T, who is infamous for firing people when they get close to being vested, they're infamous for that. When I was fired from the company, as much as it was the worst thing that ever happened to me, it was the best thing that happened to me. Um, and that was before I moved to Houston because had that I not been fired, I would not have written a book. I would not have been able to spend the amount of time with my children as teenagers that I did. And I was just able to access the part of me that I didn't know existed.
Hmm. That's a great point. And that's really good because if it had not been for those situations, you wouldn't have the person that you have now.
Right.
Now, let's talk about that. How did, because you said shambles right now, how did you go from shambles to come out of that situation to get to the point where you wrote a book, to get to the point where you were able to do all the things that you have done now? What did you do?
I would say when my life was messy here and it turned into and it was a shambles here, I went back to basics. I started reading again. started writing, flexing, like I like to call it, my flexing my creative muscle a little bit, just writing, random things. Um, I'm gonna say something corny, but watching the Asian series, I enjoy those. Getting back to the things that I like, and I think that's a thing that we miss because we're so busy, busy working, busy taking care of kids, busy taking care of spouses, just busy minding other people's business, and we forget to mind our own business. And I got back to learning how to mind my own business, and I really stopped taking phone calls from people.
That's good. I like that. You said you went back to basics. And that is such a great point. Like when your life is in a mess, a lot of times going back to basics and just kind of like starting fresh. And then, like you said, minding your own, because when you're minding your own business, you don't have time to worry about other people's business or what other people are going through. And you're focused on you and focused on getting yourself back right. I like that, back to basics. And what would you suggest for anybody who may be going through the same type of situation that you went through?
What I would say is take 5 minutes to yourself. And 5 minutes does not seem a lot, like a whole lot at all. But when you consider you don't have 5 minutes to yourself, if you got a spouse, you have to be invested in him. You got or her, whatever one. When you got kids, you got to be invested in them. You got work, you got to be invested in that. So 5 minutes. Go in the bathroom. Tell your people in the house you got to poop. They're not coming in there. You got to do that, right?
They shouldn't.
5 And what I learned is that 5 minutes can become 6 minutes, and then 7 minutes, and then 8 minutes. And then you really begin to discover things about yourself. Maybe you realize that you like it noisy instead of quiet. Maybe you realize, I remember I wanted to take a class. Maybe I'll investigate that again. Because right now I'm in a new space. I don't have no kids at the house. My son, right. My son, he's about to go back to Denver. He's working for United, and it'll just be me and the dog. When he first left, I was horrible. He does all the cooking, he does all the cleaning, he does the ordering the food. I was around here eating grilled cheese and ice cream every day for dinner because he's not here to cook.
Sound like me. Sound like me. As soon as my daughter left, I was here, just me. Yeah, I feel you completely. And it was like, but now, when, like you said, when you take that 5 minutes for yourself, you really start to find yourself. But I was going to ask you there, like, what do you suggest within the 5 minutes? And like you say, the time will start to grow. What do you suggest people do in order to like discover the things that they like? What did you do in those 5 minutes?
So for me, 5 minutes, I just want it quiet. No talking, no phone ringing, no nothing. And that's how it starts. Nothing. Don't ask me any questions. I have no answers. Don't text me. I'm not on social media. Just that 5 minutes for a person who doesn't have 5 minutes to themselves is a slice of heaven. And then you want more and more. And then once you begin to get more time, you start trying to figure out, what is it I can do in this time? But you have to get cooperation within your household.
Facts. And like you just said, within that 5 minutes, you could start then thinking about what you really want out of your own life. But when you are so busy trying to be there for everybody else, and the 5 minutes, because some people may say, well, I don't have 5 minutes to just sit around and do nothing. That used to be me. I used 5 minutes, I could be doing something in that 5 minutes. But like you said, take the 5 minutes to yourself and focus on you for that 5 minutes. Great points, great points. Did you want to add anything else to that?
I would say, I don't know who your audience is. I don't know whether they're women, whether they're men. I don't know their ethnicity. But what is important, no matter what you are, who you are, is to invest some time in you. Because when you consider, I can't give you my best if I haven't had any time for me. You want the best out of your spouse? Give him or her 5 minutes. If your children want the best out of you, tell them, let me have these 5 minutes. Everybody that's connected to you is going to benefit from that investment of the 5 minutes, of the 10 minutes, of the 20 minutes. I have a friend who has been married for a number of years, and she does everything at the house. And the kids are grown and her husband is there. And I was like you Cinderella. I don't want to be Cinderella. I don't want to go to work and come home and cook and clean, do the grocery shopping. Oh, I don't want to cook. So now I got to go out and order food. I don't think anybody wants that lifestyle. And you absolutely can't get the best out of you if you can't get a moment to yourself to think about what is best for you.
That's good. That's a good point. You can't get the best out of you if you don't have a moment to think about what is the best for you. That's a quote. You need to put that on. If you ain't used that one yet, that needs to be on a motivational quote on a reel with the music in the background. Okay. So I'm gonna put that. If you don't use it, I'm gonna use it. How can people connect with you? Because you said you had 5 books published already. Shoot, I'm just working on my first one. I'm paid.
So the first one is the hardest one.
Okay.
That's the most pressure, because is this the right thing? Am I saying the right thing? Are they going to get my message? Oh my God, there's just so much pressure. But after the first one, just easy, nothing to it but to do it.
And you have a 6th one on the way?
It's been a minute, because I think my last book, you can't even buy that anymore unless you buy it from me. I pulled that. That's unavailable because I want to rebrand it. Dear Future Husband. It was a fun book. It's not available anymore unless you get it from me.
Okay, I need that. Dear Future Husband, I need that. I need to read that. Is it about how to get a husband? Is it telling the men what the women are looking for? Is it telling the women what to do for their husband?
So it's actually an anthology with several women writing a letter to their husband based on where they are in their headspace in that moment.
That sounds really good. And as far as you said that you work with women and inspire. Now you didn't say inspire women. I know I'm saying this wrong. You said, tell me what you said at the very beginning, as far as what you do to help women.
I assist women love their authentic self to live their authentic life. Because to be honest, we be out here like pseudo happy. Wearing the same clothes, picking the same type of shoes, going the same direction to work and doing the same stuff. And that's not like real happiness.
So you think a lot of people fake it?
Ooh, girl. I know somebody who married their husband because her family thought that he was a good match. But she knew he was not a good match. And they still married.
Is she happy? You don't think so? She don't think so. She knows.
I know she's not. I know she's not.
Okay.
I just cut off her complaining to me.
And so if anybody did want to reach you or did want to get the book, because I'm really serious about getting the book, how can someone contact you or how can they keep in touch with you?
So on all platforms, I am one, and that's number one, Authentic Woman. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I think that's all the social medias that are available. I think Snapchat is, but I just don't have time.
Yeah. I don't do Snapchat. I don't have Snapchat either. All the students tell me, "Oh, Miss Snapchat old." I'm like, "Oh, okay." But then they say Facebook for old people. I'm like, "Okay." Hey, so I no, you said the number one Authentic Woman is your handle for all of those.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So I will most definitely have that at the end for you all to take a look at all the ways that you can contact and stay in touch with Miss Trenace Carter. Last thing, your last words of encouragement to the audience of whomever decides to tune in. What would you say?
I would say be your best self every day, whatever that looks like. It's not going to look the same every day as long as you were what your best was for that day. Always have the understanding that it's your life, because when you get in the mirror, you see you. You don't see your mother, you don't see dad, you don't see your cousins, you don't see your friends. So make your decisions, your life choices, your happiness, base that on the person who you see in the mirror, not anybody else.
And those are some great words to end with. And I just want to tell everybody, don't forget, if you enjoyed this message and you enjoyed this interview, like, share, and subscribe, okay? Because as I wrap up with the famous quote that I leave you all with every week, if you want to stay sad, live in the past. If you want to be anxious and worried, think about the future. But if you want to be happy, live in the present and be grateful for the things that you have today. This is Tracey D. Armstrong with What's Your Mess? Have a great day, y'all.